Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 56 of the income stream. We're going to have a lot of fun today. There's a few things that we're going to go over. Number one, I'm going to talk about a simple method to get more reviews. That's for your Amazon products, your podcasts, maybe you own a restaurant. However you want to get more reviews for your thing, we're going to talk about a simple way to get that. Number two, we're going to talk about how to react to negative reviews and the different options we have and what we should and shouldn't do. Number three, we're probably going to do a YouTube channel review. Number four, some Q&A. And number five, we have a special giveaway from somebody who's sponsoring this particular live stream, which has never happened before. Really excited to welcome on our first sponsor. And we're going to give away something as a result of that, which is really cool. Just welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. And as always, welcome to the income stream.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
All right, here we are, May 10th, May 11th, day 56. This is incredible. I can't believe these 56 hours have passed by so quickly. Speaking of hour, we're going to go about 52 minutes today instead of the full hour. I have a very important interview coming up at 9 o'clock at the hour. If you want to guess, for anybody who's in the room here, who that interview might be, extra bonus points for you if you can guess who it is. It's somebody who has never been on the show before. They're an author, and they talk about productivity quite often. Any guesses, let me know in the chat. Let me welcome in other people who are here. We got Just Samson in the house, likes the shirt. I want that shirt, he says, which is really cool. Thank you so much. Beth in the house. What's up, Beth? Thanks for being here. We got Jammin. We got Franco. Good to see you. We got Aiko. We got Marla. Grandma Goody in the house as well. Time to take notes. Thanks again for taking those notes and posting them in the replay, Grandma Goody. I appreciate you. Michael Mann. We got Jen Games. Coach Deb in the house. Always drop some killer tips during these. I got hooked to this morning show. Thank you, Deb. That means a lot because I know you go live and do a lot of streaming as well. So I appreciate you for that. Lewis B, what's up? Good to see you here as well. Tondalea, do you have a course that teaches how to write an ebook? I saw your video from a couple years ago. If you look up ebooks the smart way on Google, you might be able to find that post or PDF file that my team and I created for you. Now, if you can't find it, shoot me an email, pat@patflynn.com, and we'll definitely hook you up with that. Really excited about today. I want to talk at the start here about reviews. In fact, I'm going to be filming a video later on in the week that's a little bit more fine-tuned and edited. I'm not going to do a video within a live stream like we've done in the past. By the way, that one video that we did do that on, which definitely took a lot of prep, and I have some webinars happening later this week, so I don't have time to prep, but I have time to prep a regular YouTube video. I don't know, it's just weird how it's like that. Anyway, the one that we did from before, the 15 pandemic created ideas one, is about to cross 100,000 views, and it's already generated through the ads that are in that video about $700. So that's really neat, and that's just pretty amazing, especially since many of you watched that unfold live, which is really cool. But this week I'm going to film a video that's a little bit more encapsulated, fine-tuned, edited, related to getting more reviews. I'm really still trying to work on the hook on that video, so that's really important. We've talked about the importance of a good hook in a YouTube video, podcast episode, or blog or email in order to gain more momentum, especially on YouTube, because that first 10 seconds is so important with your videos. And we've done a lot of YouTube channel reviews here as well. There's one that I'm going to do later on for somebody who left a donation yesterday through a super chat. But yes, getting more reviews, really key. Maybe you have a book on Amazon, for example. How might you get more reviews? And in fact, I want to do this live with you and show you how I go about doing this. Now, before I get to that, I do want to thank today's sponsor for this particular live stream, and that is Buzzsprout. For those of you who don't know Buzzsprout, Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting provider. As you can see here, I've been with them for years. They host my show, Ask Pat. I love them for many different reasons, not just great analytics, even better than Google Podcast Manager and Apple Analytics right now. But in addition to that, the team is there to support you. They're great people. And finally, it's just the easiest one to use. They can get you set up and running very quickly. In fact, if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/Buzzsprout, so actually I'm going to go here and show you what happens. smartpassiveincome.com/Buzzsprout. That'll take you to my referral link, which gets you 33% more time in whatever paid plan you choose for your podcast. So that's a lot. And so smartpassiveincome.com/Buzzsprout. And what the giveaway is we don't have a light goal today. We have a microphone to give away, the Samson Q2U microphone. If you head on over to Amazon.com and you check out Samson Q2U, I actually did a video review about that. The Samson Q2U microphone, which you can see here, is currently available, thankfully, because it wasn't available for the longest time. But Buzzsprout will send one to you. We're going to give away one during this live stream today to one lucky commenter. In fact, it could be any one of you. So stick around because I'm going to give away that to somebody who is in the room, which is really cool. And Buzzsprout is really amazing and they're good people. So thanks to them for being willing to sponsor this live show. We've never had a sponsor on these live shows before. And I'll talk about them later and at the end when we run the contest. Okay, so let's get more reviews for our stuff. In fact, how many of you... Oh, by the way, let me just tell you who I'm going to be interviewing on the Smart Passive Income podcast in just a moment. At the top of the hour, which is why I'm going to end a little bit early, probably in 40 minutes, I'm going to be interviewing Mike Michalowicz. Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, the author of Clockwork, the author of The Pumpkin Plan, the author of his brand new book, Fix This Next. And I'm excited to talk to him about that. How do we as entrepreneurs know what to fix next? How do we know what needs fixing? And is it all based on data? Is it based on something else? And I'm just really excited to dive in with him about that. So Mike Michalowicz is amazing. If you haven't read Profit First, I highly recommend that. It's essentially the same sort of advice you get in the financial space when it comes to pay yourself first. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, pay yourself first. When you get a paycheck, for example, always put a little bit away for yourself first before you then pay your bills, before you then pay your allowance or whatever else you have to pay other people or other things for, bills. Pay yourself first. I often use the advice of pay yourself first with time, right? If you are strapped for time, well, pay yourself first. Wake up a little bit earlier in the morning, like Hal Elrod teaches to do in the Miracle Morning. And that way, over time, it just stacks and builds this nest egg. But Profit First is a way to sort of structure how money comes in and comes out in your business. And it's a very simple formula that I recommend you check out. And Mike Michalowicz is great. There will not be a live for the interview, although that would have been cool. And maybe I could do that in the future. I didn't even think of that. I'm going to be a little bit worried about that. That's a really important interview. They're all important, but I'm just going to go through my normal sort of interview sequence. I don't want to add other things on top of it ad hoc. Which might mess up some things. So anyway. Hashtag bruh for all of you out there. Thanks for coming in. Rap and Combat, Adil. We got Boost Leak Media, Michael, Make It Blue, My Apps, Rafal. Thanks so much for that. And by the way, before we get started, make sure you visit this link here. And that is smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. This will take you to the page where we have some emergency podcast episodes. We have my books, some tips, my courses, which are available for free. smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit, as you see up there. And finally, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, because that's awesome. And hit that bell notification icon too, so that YouTube can notify you when those new videos come out, because they don't do that automatically, unfortunately. Okay, so let's talk about getting reviews. Why are reviews important? Reviews are important. Again, we're talking about for your books, for your products, for your podcast, right? If you have a podcast, you want more reviews. But asking for reviews is quite difficult sometimes because it is something that takes a long time to do, right? It's not just a person can reply to a message and then boom, that review is there. They have to go through a lot of hoops in order to have that review be publicly displayed. And a lot of times reviews only come in automatically when they're negative, right? Because people want to have a public forum to share something and say something, which is why things like Yelp are so negative, because a lot of people use those platforms when they have something negative to say versus when they have a positive experience, they're maybe likely to share via word of mouth. But to go onto your podcast, to then click on reviews, to then click to leave a review, to then hit the star, to then submit a review, and to have to think about something to type in and then have to submit, like that's a lot, right? That's a lot. So how might we get better reviews? Now you might think that just including a call to action will help, and it does a little bit. At the end of your books, just simply saying, hey, if you enjoyed this book, go here to my page on Amazon, leave a review, that'll be good. Okay, that works a little bit. On a podcast, we hear this even more often. At the end of the show, somebody might say, hey, by the way, leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. That'd be really helpful. Thank you so much. And that can sometimes work too. I think at least you're asking, and that's good. But that often doesn't work, especially because people aren't really in the mindset to leave a review at that time. Plus, they're not in the right spot either. So here's my simple way that I want to offer to you, and I want you to try this. And in fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to do this live here on Twitter, because you need some place where your target audience exists. And since it's not, your email can work, Facebook, Instagram, any of it can work. In fact, Instagram works really well for this too. But I'm going to use Twitter, and I'm going to tweet something really quick, and I'll show you here. Who here has recently read #superfans? What was your favorite chapter or lesson that you took away? Hit reply and let me know. #Happy Monday. Little personality in there. Happy Monday. Tweet. Now, if I wanted to make that a little bit better, I'd find an image or a GIF to go along with it, and I think that could go a long way too. But, okay, so what did I do there? How does that relate to reviews? Well, first of all, I didn't ask for a review right away, right? A lot of times when we ask for a review, it's a very please for me kind of situation versus reminding people what you gave to them first. And also because you're asking in a public forum, it often doesn't feel very personable. So here's the trick, and here's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to see, in fact, I think we already have some. Pat Flynn has a mustache. Pat Flynn has a mustache? That's really funny. Okay, so that was not a reply to this comment, or was it? Yes. Oh, no, that was about the live stream. That's funny. Okay, so we're going to wait for some replies to come in, and then you'll see what I do next. But here's essentially the plan, right? So you ask people what they enjoyed about the thing that they consume. This, number one, ensures that anybody that you're going to speak to in our next step has actually read the book. Number two, it almost forces this to happen for people who enjoyed the book, not just anybody who hates it, right? Because you can pick and choose who you want to interact with, and that's essentially what's going to happen. You can do this again on Instagram. You can do this for your books, for your podcast, for your restaurant, if you want restaurant reviews, right? See who has come and taken part with it later, see who has experience with it recently, reach back out to them individually, and that's what you're going to see happens. So anyway, I see Karma already replied. You guys are watching, so you guys know. I'm going to wait for somebody who has yet to know that I have a live stream, because I don't want this to be forced, but I read Superfan 4 times. I love the idea of naming my tribe. Cool. The Karma crew, right? So you should leave 4 reviews, right, Karma? No, I'm just kidding. But thank you for watching. And Rafal, thank you for that. Thank you for that super chat earlier on, by the way. So here's what I would recommend you do. Oh, there's the super chat by Rafal. Cool. So here's what we're going to do. Anybody who replies and shares some fun thing about the book that they've read, I'm going to take out my phone, because this is a little bit easier to do it with, and reply to each of those people individually with a video. Yes, with a quick little video, thanking them for reading the book and simply asking them to go to Amazon to leave a review. This works 80% of the time. And it works 80% of the time versus, having a 0.01 conversion rate when you just mention this at the end of your podcast, because it feels very personable. And it's very unlikely that a person is receiving videos from a person that they've just read, or a restaurant owner that they've just sort of sat in their restaurant for, or a product that they've just purchased, right? So this little tiny video, and again, I'm going to hopefully get a few that come in. Let's see. So we already got some comments coming. The lesson I took away is how I can work to make my stakeholders in education, parents, students, community, super fans. And yes, I'm watching too. Oh, K-Walk. Okay, well, we're going to give it some time. We'll come back to that a little bit later. But I also want to talk a little bit about how to respond to negative comments while we're waiting for this to happen. But hopefully you can see why this works so well. And in fact, I've used this strategy where I took one day to just do this the entire day to reply to comments. And I was able to wake up to 40, 50 new reviews because I just kind of went all out with that. And reviews are tough, and reviews are important because it shows other people that this thing is worth getting, or that restaurant's worth going to, or that book is worth opening, or that product is worth buying. So I think it's really important to consider these kinds of strategies. And yes, it works, but it's a little bit more work, right? But I think this is what separates us who are amateur and those who are pro, because those who are pro knows that you have to go a little bit further to interact with somebody, and that goes a very long way in return. And for something like a review, just simply asking your audience in whole is not going to work very well. So There's a question here from Spanish and Go asking, am I going to use Bonjoro? I'm not going to use Bonjoro for this particular strategy, right? Bonjoro is a tool that's really amazing because you can connect it to your PayPal, your Stripe, your product, whatever it might be. You can even connect it to your email service provider. And what happens is when you get a new subscriber or you get a new customer, Bonjoro, which is an app on your phone, will notify you. You swipe, and then you can shoot a video like this. Hey, Jamie, thanks so much for picking up Power Up Podcasting. I'm excited to welcome you into the course, and I cannot wait to learn more about your show and your podcast. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. Make sure you hit that play button on that first lesson right away, though, because you'll get introduced to Teachable, how it all goes down, and I'm going to help you get through this crazy thing called podcasting and get your show up and running so you can build listeners and have some fun, too. Thanks so much, Jamie. Appreciate you. Boom. So you see how cool that is? It's a personable message that comes in and was coming in automatically. It's not created automatically. I've seen a lot of people try to scale that, the sort of personal reply, by trying to create a video for all the Johns, a video for all the Jamies. I mean, that would take forever to do something like that. That's just hit reply and make a personable reply, right? Not everything has to be scalable, okay? And I think that when you batch process these, that's when it becomes efficient. That's when it becomes scalable. That's Bonjoro, connecting to your email service provider. Imagine that you're just starting out your email list and you send a personal video to every new subscriber. Again, very easy to do if you're just starting out, and that's going to be your advantage over people like me who are much bigger, and I can't possibly do that to every new subscriber. Thus, you'll be able to pull and track more people in sooner and hopefully help them become fans more quickly. So Bonjoro is used for that. I'm just going to use the embedded or internal Twitter mechanism, right? The DMs in Twitter, the DMs in Instagram, the DM in Facebook, and that goes a really long way too. After Hours Marketing says, I can't talk like that, Pat. Well, yet. The more you do this, the better it's going to be, right? I think just if it's a personal heart-to-heart video, that's going to work, right? And I'm going to check Twitter here once again to see if anybody else had replied yet. Cool. So here's a reply that came in from Luke. I don't know if necessarily Luke is watching right now, but he just says, I loved just the intro so far, learning about what a superfan is. Now, is that interesting? Did he read almost all the way through? And he's like, well, I just kind of love the intro only. No, I'm guessing he just read through. But I'm going to do this a little bit live for you to show you how simple it is. And I can even, it's not going to get a review right away, but it's going to be a really interesting moment in Luke's reading experience to hear from the writer, right? Which is pretty cool. Actually, there's a couple here that I see. Okay, here's Luke. I don't know if you could see this. There's Luke there, right? So I'm going to follow Luke, send the direct message, and I'm going to create a video. So see there? Hey Luke, it's Pat Flynn here. Thank you so much for responding to that comment earlier about superfans. I really appreciate you for reading through, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the book as well. And I'm excited to hear what else you think about it. At the end, if you really enjoyed it, if you wouldn't mind leaving me a review on Amazon, that'd be amazing. It's really helpful to have other people check it out too. But anyway, get through it first. Let me know your biggest takeaway. And I promise as you go through it, try to take action on those exercises. You'll actually see results come in from it too. So thanks, Luke. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for responding to that comment earlier about superfans. I really appreciate you for reading through, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the book as well. And I'm excited to hear what else you think about it. At the end, if you really enjoyed it, if you wouldn't mind leaving me a review on Amazon, that'd be amazing. It's really helpful to have. Okay, I'm just going to send use video. Get through. Use video. Thanks, Luke. I appreciate you. Exclamation point. Boom. There it is. Luke already received a message. And I can go through a whole bunch really quickly, right? And so already on this post, I don't know if you could see here, but I'm seeing a whole mess of replies that I can just go through. Maybe one afternoon I can just walk down the street and hit reply to each of these people. You're going to get way more reviews this way than doing it the other way where you're just like, hey everybody, please leave a review. And I don't know why I use that voice. I think, again, watching too much Chris D'Elia, but that works. It's easy, right? It's so much easier to do, and it's personable. You get to connect with your reader, and actually sometimes a reader will reply and say that it was like extremely helpful, and they give me their life story, and it's cool because then you can empathize with your audience a little bit more. A lot of those people then become even faster to become super fans in your brand. It's just it's a really cool thing. Now, let's go a little bit into, well, what do you do if you get a negative comment? How do you handle that? Now, I'd love to hear from those in the chat right now. How would you handle a negative comment? And in fact, many of you have probably heard this story before, but a negative comment almost derailed me from entrepreneurship altogether. And it was a negative comment that was about 1,000 words in length that this person left on my blog back in 2011, 2012. I don't remember the year exactly because I've tried to block it out of my brain, try to block it out. But this person left this really nasty comment who was really disrespectful. He was commenting about the clothes I wore. He was commenting about how I was a con artist, how I was a fake, and all this kind of stuff. And he even like had analytics and stats and was just like trying to come up with a case for it. And I knew that that wasn't true. But the more I saw and read that comment, the more I started to believe, right? And that's how weird and how powerful the brain is. The more you tell yourself something or you hear something, the more likely it is for you to actually believe it and live it. And this is why surrounding yourself with people who are there to support you as much as possible, whether online or offline, is very key, because the more support you get from the outside, the more likely it is that you're going to be encouraged to keep going. The more you kind of have people around you who keep beating you down, the more likely it is that you're going to believe that everything that they're saying is true. So again, this is why masterminds and things like that are really important. Now, this comment, I deleted it on my website because that's like my website's my home. Hey, get out of my house, right? And I read it and I got very, we entrepreneurs, we have an interesting math, right? Here's our math. One negative comment is greater than, or means more worth to us than 100 positive comments, right? And so I felt like somebody punched me in the gut, but I deleted it, right? Because I didn't want anybody else to see it, and I just like wanted it out of my life. But the next day I woke up and there were all these people who emailed me saying, Pat, who's this guy who left this nasty comment on my blog? Every place that I was featured as a podcast guest or a guest poster, that person copy and pasted the same comment across 100 plus different websites on the web. He just searched for my name, found me, commented it, and I was crushed. I literally stopped working for 3 weeks. And I'm not going to go over just how depressed I was, but it was that one comment, right? And you might be thinking, wow, that's just one person, Pat. But yeah, he said some stuff and it really hurt. And, getting bullied back in high school and middle school, like it just brought those kinds of feelings back. So I was like, okay, I'm not cut out for this. I don't want to do this. And it wasn't until, and I got to give a big shout out to my good friend Derek Halpern for getting me out of that funk, because he's always very real. He just tells it like it is. And he was mad at me. And I'm like, dude, I'm already upset here. Why are you mad at me? And he was like, I'm mad at you because you're letting this one person control your entire life. And there are so many more people out there in the world who need you, who actually comment that they love your stuff. And that's not who you're focusing on. You're focusing on this one, insert explicit here. And he said, every second you waste on that person is a second you're taking away from everybody else who needs you. And I was like, oh, dude, you're so right. You're so absolutely right. So I got over it. And then eventually I mustered up the courage to reach out to this person, because I saw people like Gary Vee reaching out to people who were leaving hate comments, hate reviews, really negative reviews on Amazon. I saw him reply with grace too, not upset, but just trying to understand more. And a lot of times those commenters replied back thanking him for a legit conversation. I was like, could I possibly have that with this person? Well, we ended up having a conversation. And I ended up finding out that this person was doing it because they wanted more traffic to their website. Yeah. They wanted more traffic to their website. What? Bruh. He said I was an easy target, that I seemed very vulnerable, I was everywhere, and because of that, he wanted to get more traffic to his website. And I was like, man, I feel bad for you. And in normal circumstances, I would do what I can to help you because you're doing it the wrong way. But X, you're out of my life, IP address blocked, you're no longer able to have contact with me. So that was kind of a depressing time, but I learned a lot. And my good friend Shannon Irvin said, hey, hurt people, right? Hurt people, hurt people. And this person must have been so hurt that he needed to hurt me in that way, right? So hurt people, yes. More traffic. More traffic. How crazy is that? Anyway, hurt people. So how are we supposed to reply? I think it definitely depends, right, on the kind of person you are. I think people like Gary Vee have a much more natural reaction to want to know what's going on and just kind of figure a person out and to understand a little bit more. And I tried that, and it's hard because a lot of times, some of those people, thank you for reaching out, and are very surprised by that. A lot of times people just use the internet as sort of a sounding board for things. And that's tough, right? But yeah, and then this is a good comment here from Dole Whip Dad. It's like, it has really nothing to do with you, right? Joe, thank you so much. I'm going to answer that question for you in just a minute. It has nothing to do with you, right? And that's the first thing to realize, because it's very easy to get down on yourself. And I think we need to, like Martin says here, we need to spread more happiness. So thank you again for being here. And this is why communities like this are really important, for us to connect together, to be in a positive area. And anytime you have a community, it's great, because sometimes these trolls are just going to get wiped away before you even see them, right? We haven't had any trolls here. We have one negative Nancy today on the thumbs down, but that's okay. It's okay to get a negative comment. I think that's the difference here. A negative comment with constructive criticism is okay. In fact, that's very valuable. But a hateful comment, a disrespectful comment, is not what we want. And when you have a tribe, oftentimes they're going to step up and be there to support you before sometimes you even know that person exists. And very thankfully, I have built this amazing tribe. Many of you who are members of Team Flynn, that's all of you. It's not like a paid membership thing, but Team Flynn is amazing in helping to support me and sort of, get the pests away. There's different kinds of ways to reply, right? You could reply, and you can just say, hey, thanks for your comment, appreciate it, and just kind of passively just reply and say, okay, sure. And this person typically will want a reply back that will try to incite some sort of moment or some sort of event. And that's typically what people want, because if you're anything like, or if that person's anything like the person who left those hateful comments for me back in 2011, well, they're going to want that attention. They needed attention. They crave it because they're often not getting it elsewhere, right? But replying, maybe not always the best situation. Sometimes it's simply a matter of deleting and blocking. And on YouTube, I do that quite often. In fact, a lot of my YouTube videos get very hateful comments, almost to the edge of disrespectful. And when I see those, I sort of assess them. And every once in a while, I will reply when I know this person is confused, or I know that they aren't reading something the way that I had been sharing it. But if they're just like bashing me and hateful, I just hide them from the channel. I think hiding them from the channel is even worse than blocking them, because they think that they're getting seen, but they're getting no attention. So on YouTube, that's something you can do. You can hide a person from a channel. Franco, thank you so much for the $5 being donoed. I appreciate that. So yeah, I think that's, blocking and just ignoring, but it's hard. I mean, it's so much easier said than done, right? When you are online, you really need to develop a thick skin. However, I've also heard other people say things like, hey, if you get haters, that means you're doing good. And I'm like, it doesn't feel good to get haters, right? But you got to know where that comment's coming from. That comment's coming from the fact that you are doing something so big, so bold, that it's actually upsetting some people, right? And if you always played it safe, if you always played it, well, I want to please everybody, you're likely not taking the action to actually make any moves, to actually get some results, because we're just trying to play it safe. And you can't grow as an entrepreneur by just playing it safe. You got to step outside of your comfort zone, for one. But number two, you also got to plant your foot on the ground and say, this is what I stand for and this is what I believe in. And when you say that, you're going to have a tribe come and support you who also believe the same thing and want to get behind you, the leader. But at the same time, you're also going to attract people who are on the opposite side as well. And that's what's happened, right? That's what's happened. A lot of times also, depending on the industry you're in, people can be so jaded from prior experiences with people. When I got into the entrepreneurship space, I was attracting a lot of people who were just like, here comes another con artist, here comes another snake oil salesman. Oh, yep, I bet this series is going to lead to a launch at the end, and that's going to be bad. Not all launches are bad. In fact, they can be very helpful. But people in the past, and even now, are getting so hurt by by entrepreneurs taking them on a journey only to let them down in the end when you ask them to pay for like a $5,000 program. I remember going to an event and feeling that very same thing with people pitching on stage, and we just have not been there's a lot of people taking advantage of the internet and trying to make a quick buck. And on the other end of that, I know from my own experience, it doesn't feel very good. And I think that's helped me shape the kind of way that I do entrepreneurship. I try to give everything away for free and give so much value that I get back so much more in return. All right, that was a lot. That was a good conversation. That was really important. Hopefully one day when you get a negative comment, I hope you do get a negative comment, by the way. Not that I want it to hurt you, but that you are taking bold action and you are attracting not only the negative comments, but so many more positive comments, right? And just to stay strong, stay thick-skinned. I think that that's something that's happened to me since that event. Is now when these comments come in, I consider number one, hurt people. It's not about me; it's about them. Something's going on in their lives. I follow a person named Ramit Sethi, who oftentimes in his live streams on Instagram or even his Instagram posts or on Twitter, he'll share his experiences replying to hateful comments. And then he actually, as a psychologist, dives in and has conversations with them. And they always admit defeat. They always admit, I'm just having a bad day. I'm sorry I let it out on you or something like that. Or, I've just had bad experience with money. And I thought you were one of those guys, but apparently I was wrong. And that's pretty cool. I like seeing Ramit. I'll let him and Gary do more of that. For me, it's less about replying. Every once in a while I do reply. And I got to tell you, the other funny thing that I do is I'll like if somebody leaves a hateful comment or there's a troll, I'll write like a page worth of reply. Just everything I can that I know this person's wrong about. Oh yeah, well, did you check this out? Or in this video I did this. And I write this whole thing out and it feels really good. And then what I do is I select all and I delete it. And then I block that person or I hide them from the channel. And it's just, I needed to get that off my chest, right? It almost is like proof to myself to counter that person so that I don't begin listening to them. I don't know if you've ever done that before. You leave like this really amazing reply and then you just kind of delete it. I've done that before too. Okay, Joe, I'm going to answer your question and we'll get to some more questions. By the way, if you have a question, type in the word question in all caps. We're going to go to some questions. By the way, thanks again to our sponsor today, which is Buzzsprout. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/Buzzsprout, you're going to get access to 33% more time added on your plan. We're doing a special giveaway today. In about 10 minutes here, I'm going to select a random commenter. We've had over 1,000 comments here. So yeah, one of you will win a Samson Q2U microphone that they'll send over to you, and then we'll get in contact with you to get your address, and we'll send it over to you, and that'll be fun. So, Joe, your question: single tool for publishing audio and video podcasts. Juice worth the squeeze? Number one, I wouldn't worry right away about doing both a video and an audio podcast. By the way, video podcast, I still have some weirdness about it. A video podcast is not just a YouTube video of your podcast. Technically, a podcast is you subscribe to the thing, and whenever a new episode comes out, it gets automatically distributed via RSS to your device. Watching a YouTube video of a person podcasting is just a video of a YouTuber podcasting. It's not technically a video podcast, but I understand that the sort of definition is changing. But it adds a lot more complexity to film a audio recording, and it also, because it's going to be used in two mediums, one of those mediums is going to not get the value that they deserve when you do both at the same time. An audio podcast that has, mentions of visuals, because on video you want to have it be very visual, well, it's going to feel like a little bit lackluster if you've accounted for that for your video. If primarily you create the audio, but then you put it on YouTube, well, the YouTube video is not going to get a lot of value because it's all audio based and a person doesn't have to watch in order to get it. So I would focus on one or the other and just focus on the tool that's going to help you do that first. Then, and only then after you master that, perhaps you then release the sort of video version of it on top of it, or the audio version on top of the video afterwards, so that you can just get things done. Because I got to tell you, people try to do both at the same time. I've seen it, and they don't get anything done because they want to perfect both. Perfect one first, open up, get more time back, become efficient with it, and then insert the other one after. That's what I would recommend. Now, if you have a team to help you sort of coordinate this, then that's great. But a single tool to do both, I mean, you could potentially record the video on Skype and then take that recording, which is a video, and rip out the audio and turn that into a podcast. The one So Buzzsprout, I would recommend Buzzsprout for the audio, and for video. I mean, you're gonna have to find a different host for that, and because that's video podcasting is not necessarily like audio podcast. So that's what I recommend. Franco, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Esben says, I just found out that the best way to pivot or start something new, reading Will It Fly, and to do the online course is to create new business models and test them. Yes, absolutely. Test them before you make a decision. I have a lot of people who, in my podcasting course, for example, they want to create a second episode or a second show, like a completely second show. And I'm like, okay, well, number one, that's a lot of work, but have you tested that new show? You have this first show. Why not use that audience as a testing ground, right? Create one episode that's sort of special about that topic, and then ask and communicate with that community to see if they want more of that. And if that's the case, then maybe you can sort of branch off and have a second show. Or what often happens is they have a second show or a second episode come out during the week that is sort of tuned in that way or about that secondary topic. All right, let's go some more questions here. Make It Blue says, I sent you a tweet, Pat Flynn, about the negative comments as a disabled person. I grew up being stared at or rude comments, and I have been given a gift. I'm never going to allow someone to break me. Love it, right? And I think I love the way that you're approaching this as a gift. You have this gift of not letting anybody else hold you back, and I absolutely love that. Thank you for sharing that. All right, question. Looking for some questions. Some questions. How to price an ebook. It depends on what you want to do with the ebook, right? Ebooks are built for different reasons. You could price it for free in order to grow your email list and then lead people somewhere else, right? And I've done that quite often. You could put a book on Amazon, and if you put an ebook on Amazon, you're going to be forced to price it between $2.99 and $9.99 for a 70% commission, versus anywhere outside of that, you only get 35%. So Amazon really wants us to price our ebooks between $2.99 and $9.99. And if you do that, I would do it as not a way to make money, but as a way to even gain more leads. So collecting leads on Amazon is a little bit difficult because in your book, you have to have mechanisms to capture email addresses. I've done this very successfully in Will It Fly, so you could read that, check it out. It's actually here on this page that you could download for free, smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit, and you can download the PDF version of Will It Fly for free to see, even in the beginning of the book, before the first chapter even starts, how we begin to start collecting email addresses. And in fact, that book converts at 53%. 53% of readers have offered me their email address. And so that's huge because I know exactly where they're at. I know exactly what they've just read. I can ask them for reviews as well. And that can go a very long way. In fact, I want to check. Okay, so Luke has not replied yet, but that's okay. That's okay. He did see it though, there's a check mark. Or maybe that means it's delivered. I think if it turns green, that means he's watched it, but he might be busy right now. Anyway, Dole Whip Dad's like, wow, over 1,000 comments. Stop commenting so I could win. So yes, we're gonna give away a microphone in just about 5 minutes here. But yeah, so pricing your ebook between $2.99 and $9.99, Amazon will sort of force that in that way. However, my first ebook was sold for $19.99, and that was through my website. And I know a lot of people, for example, Nathan Barry, before he founded ConvertKit, he was pricing his books in a multi-tiered structure. For example, he was selling a design user interface book because he was teaching designers how to do design and user interface, which is his specialty, which is why I love ConvertKit. It's just so well designed. But $39.99 for just the book alone. The book plus some medium level bonuses and other things, charts, graphs, software, other things, was like, I think $69.99. And then $99.99 for an ebook plus some bonuses took you even further, right? And I'm trying to find another example of when I've used that. I'm not sure if this is still here, but foodtrucker.com was a website that I created in 2013, 2014. I recently sold it, so I actually don't own this website anymore. I sold it recently, but they are still using the ebook that we created about how to start a food truck. So I'm looking here and I'm going to see what they use for their pricing plan. So yeah, here we go. So we sell this ebook, or it's not we anymore. This is somebody else's company now, but sorry. The main course, just the ebook for $47. The combo meal, which is $127 for the sweet spot, and then $197. In fact, most of the ebooks that we sold were sold at the $197 price. Now, I don't know. Oh yeah, hey, I'm still here as a founder. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Okay, so let's see what's in the all-you-can-eat buffet. Currently disabled. They're probably changing things as we speak. Well, anyway, having a triple tiered price and structuring the pricing in a way such that just the bigger price is more attractive. It has everything you need, right? If you're starting a food truck, you want all the things. If you're going to go into a design career, you definitely want the added bonuses that go along with it to make your life easier, right? So if you're using an ebook specifically to make money from the ebook itself, then you can price a little bit higher, but also make sure you include these other tiered structures. There was an episode of the SPI podcast. In fact, if I go to smartpassiveincome.com here, I'm going to see if I could find this on the fly with you. Nathan Barry ebook. Yep, here we go. Good job, SPI search. Episode 75, way back in the day. This was published, when was this published? A long time ago. Anyway, this will show you exactly the pricing structure that Nathan used for his app design handbook, an ebook that made over $12,000 on the first day that it launched to just 1,000 people, right? Under 1,000 people on his email list. He made over $12,000 on the first day with an ebook. But it was because of the way that it was structured. Let me see if he even continues to sell it here. So yeah, just like what we were talking about, right? The complete package, the book, but then the case study, the video tutorials, the video interviews, the 5 resources for $249, or you can just get the book and the video for $99, or you can just get the ebook for $39. Cool? So the cool thing about the price structures is like, wow, the ebook, man, I got to get everything else, right? And if I'm serious about this, then boom, it almost feels like a course in that it solves that problem, but it's structured in a different way. So again, it depends on what it is that you're doing this for, right? Is the ebook just a lead gen? In which case, is it a lead magnet to sort of serve the audience that you're getting on your website already? Is it something that you want to have new leads come in through Amazon, for example, and make a couple dollars here and there perhaps from Amazon, and then you know they're buyers, you know they're really interested in that stuff, and your job is to then collect those email addresses? Or are you going to go the Nathan Barry route, the tiered structure, like in episode 75 of the SPI podcast, and understand then how you can sort of make a little bit more money from that? So this website here is nathanbarry.com, for those of you who are asking about that. And yeah, that works. Like, look, it's nothing super fancy, but this is great because it definitely teaches you exactly how to structure sort of an offer. And you can see like the complete package, everything you need to design beautiful iOS apps, right? All right here in $249 with everything that's included, and then book videos, and then just book alone, right? You can sell that through tools like Samcart or Gumroad. Samcart's really easy. You just set up a sort of checkout page, and then you can connect it to the ebook really quickly. Gumroad does the same thing. I've had experience with Gumroad as well, but I prefer Samcart for that sort of thing. And this is if you don't have access to any other checkout mechanisms, right? Up in Your Business said something really interesting just now. I hate lead gens, just me. I hate lead gens. I'd love to unpack that a little bit here before we finish up, do the giveaway, and then I got to get ready for this interview with Mike Michalowicz very shortly here. You hate the lead gens that you've been given. I think that's what, and as a result, all lead gens equal not great, right? I think perhaps that you've been experiencing what a lot of us have been experiencing, which is we're just getting everybody to give us free stuff to try and get our email address, and it's not exactly about the thing that we actually need help with. So that's unfortunate, and that's not great. That's something that wherever you go to look at things, they need to work a little bit better or better connect with you to find out what exactly you need help with. There's all different kinds of lead gens though, right? There's like ebooks that you can offer for free. There are, if you're an author, maybe offering your best chapter is a great lead gen. If you are doing a podcast episode about Facebook ads, well, hey, at the end of the show, mention this checklist that you can get that's going to make everything that we just talked about so much easier so you can follow along. That's a lead gen as well. A lead gen might be a bonus episode, right? I'm going to be interviewing Mike Michalowicz, and I don't have time with him today, but maybe if I were to spend an additional 30 minutes and collect a bonus podcast episode and you really enjoy that initial interview, hey, subscribe to the list and you will get access to our bonus interview where we talk about X, Y, and Z. That's a lead gen that could work out really well. A lead gen could be a free piece of software that can help people, right? A lot of people use software as a lead gen. There's so many different ways to go about it, and I think it just means that you haven't been offered the right ones yet. All right, so let's do a giveaway. All right, so this is how this is gonna work. I'm gonna show you my comments. This is you guys, this is YouTube, which only shows us the last like 200 comments or so. And then here's Ecamm Live, which also sort of imports in the YouTube comments. And I'm gonna go all the way to the top and I'm gonna scroll down, and wherever my cursor lands, you are going to win a Samson Q2U microphone. And again, this is thanks to Buzzsprout, who is our sponsor today. Again, if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/Buzzsprout, smartpassiveincome.com/Buzzsprout, you get 33% more time added to your plan for your podcast. So, let's go. I'm gonna scroll to the top here. If I can, there we go. Now I'm gonna go to the top. This is not the winner yet. I'm gonna scroll down and we'll see who wins. So we got, look at that, 1,500 comments, 1,600 comments now. You guys aren't making it easier on yourselves by commenting. I'm just letting you know. All right, so let's scroll down and see where we end up. So see my cursor there? Wherever we land, that's the winner. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Jeremy. Way to go. Jeremy. Whoa, infinity. Ooh. Jeremy Keene, congratulations. You just won a Samson Q2U microphone that we want to send to you. And send an email to pat@patflynn.com. I'm going to write your name down. Jeremy Keene. Way to go. Awesome. Congratulations. That's epic. We aren't done yet. I want to do one quick thing. Somebody left a super chat yesterday. A super chat, sort of like a paid comment here. All that money that comes in through the donations will be actually passed forward this month to Project Cure, who is an organization helping those on the front lines of the medical field right now who obviously really need it, their protection equipment and all that stuff. So, Jeremy, congratulations. And I want to do a quick website review for Anything Cameras to finish off today, and then I'm going to bounce so that I can go chat with Mike Michalowicz, which I'm really excited about, and you'll hear that episode come out later in the year. So let's go to YouTube. So this is the YouTube channel that I want to review here to finish off. Anything Cameras, 60 subscribers, 80 videos. So first of all, I just want to say, way to keep going. By the way, MKBHD shot his first 100 videos for his first 100 subscribers. So just because maybe you don't have as many subscribers as you would like after 80 videos, and obviously your later videos have been much more improved since your first ones, it's okay. You keep going, you keep improving, and that's why we're here. So I just want to commend you for keeping going. Also, you have some really popular videos and uploads here, which are really great. So we're going to talk about those in just a moment. Now, I do want to talk about our channel artwork first, because that's the most important thing that people see. It's the number one thing that comes out and pops in onto a person's desktop or phone. So photo and video, gear, tutorials, explanations, and everything in between. Anything Cameras, videos every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern. Number one, love that you share exactly what this channel is about right away. Number two, I love that you have a sort of publishing cadence, which a lot of people don't have, which is really good. What's missing, though, is a little bit of personality in the artwork. Now, I would actually invite you to, and again, it's not required, but to have you holding a camera or you doing something with a camera versus just a black and white image of a camera that looks like it's sketched. I think that we can, this has served you well for now, but I think we can take this to the next level and build a relationship with our audience even much quicker here on the channel. By the way, thank you, Anything Cameras. I didn't leave a super chat yesterday, but here you go. Oh, okay, well, you just asked. Well, anyway, thank you so much for that super chat. So I think the artwork could go a little bit more. Like here, there's a reason why, and it's funny, like your most popular video is the one where you have a face on it. right? People want to see who the person is on the other end. I want to see your other videos too. Cool. So you aren't afraid to put your face on there, which is great. It looks like you're a young kid doing this, and like, wow, great job. Improve your audio quality. Okay. Yeah, so if you're totally cool putting your face up there, why not put it in the artwork right up top? That way people can just see who it is that's doing this on the other end. And I think what's cool about this image here as well, for the one that's most popular, is you can see it just like took off, right? Like, look at all these other videos, 3 views, 100 views, 8 views, and then boom, 362 views, right? It's like best tripod under 50. That's very helpful. There's a question like, hey, I want to know the answer. And number 2, there's like, you're holding a tripod. I want to know what tripod that is, right? And that just makes me very curious, right? Okay, so let's go back to your homepage. So 61 subs now. Look at that. You just gained a new subscriber.
One of the easiest ways to improve your photography is just...
Okay, so number 2, your thumbnails. I think our thumbnails could use a little bit of work here as well. They're kind of mixed in the font that you use, and the style looks okay. And I love that you're adding text on there too. That often works very well. Switching to full frame, like these kinds of things work very well. I think that we just need a little bit more time for them to be seen. Let me go into one of these videos, in fact, and see what the hook is like.
Recently, I switched from a Canon ETD, which you can see on the shelf right there, to a Sony a7R III, which you can't see because it's what is recording me right now. Today, I'm going to talk about my switch to full frame, but if you want to know why you either love or hate Sony, and whether the a7R III is worth it in 2020, you can go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss those videos when they come out. Hello, I'm Noah from Any...
Cool. Not a bad intro at all. You have some B-roll in there. You have some very nice images that sort of are, behind the scenes there while you're still speaking. I think that's really great. I think the trouble with this video is like, okay, you switched to full frame, so what? It's hard to create videos like this when you're just starting out and you have very little subscribership, right? Like, I switched to this, check out what happened. It's like, I don't necessarily know who you are yet. It's going to be hard for sort of the acceleration to happen right out of the gate. Versus what I love in your hook there is you said something like, in this video, I'm going to talk about, why I hate, do you hate Sony, or why people hate Sony, or something like that. That's what drew my attention. I'm like, well, why would people hate that? Versus, or maybe it's something like switching to full frame, ? Here's what you need to know, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of other videos out there like this. And when you see a smaller channel share something that's more personable, it's a little bit harder for a person who just finds you for the first time to not believe you, but just kind of get behind it, because it's people like Peter McKinnon, right, who do video and photo stuff too. They can create videos about anything now, and everything will be fine. You have to work much harder on the titles and that hook of the title and the hook in the first 5 to 10 seconds of that video. It needs to be so clear that it's like, I gotta watch this, right? Versus the title, which is very much, let's see if I can find a title that actually intrigues me, right? Let's go here. See, like, my DIY home built budget photo video studio versus how to build a budget home built video and photography studio. And then, this white text is kind of hard to read up here. There's one that, when you, like, these split screens, I see you do split screens quite often. Again, make sure that, and here's what I would do. I would take your thumbnail and I would literally take a screenshot. Like, here's what I would do. I'd take a screenshot like this. Actually, in fact, here's what I would do. Let's say I'm going to do a video about mirrorless cameras, right? I'm going to go mirrorless cameras. And what I would do is essentially take a screenshot like this. So I'm taking a screenshot, and then what I would do is I would open up that screenshot, and then I would Photoshop my own. I would Photoshop my own image on top of that, right? So if I were to go, let's see, I do this every single time because it works so well.
Recently, I switched...
Oops. Let's see. So now I'm going to take this one. And let's see if I can do this on the fly here with you. Okay, there's that. And then there's this. Can I bring this down? No, I can't do it. Anyway, what I want to see is like, how does this stack up to the other ones that are there so that I can understand, well, how might it fit in, right? You're providing the value, but getting worried about your interview with Mike. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I got 5 minutes. I'm going to end right here, but that's what I would recommend you do if you're worried about your thumbnails. Take the thumbnail, put it on top of other videos related to the same topic, and see just what would stand out. Like, literally, that's so important because YouTube is going to show this amongst all those other videos, and they'll do that thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of times for you. And it's that click-through rate that really matters, because the higher your click-through rate, and again, that's just based on the thumbnail and the title, the more likely it is your videos are going to start accelerating much faster, right? If they see that there's a video getting a higher click-through rate, of course, YouTube's going to show that one instead of these other ones that are out there too. So that's what I would recommend, finding the context, right? Okay, anyway, I got to get going. I got an interview coming up. Anyway, just want to say I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here today. We had a great conversation about getting reviews, comments, how to respond to them if they're negative. We did a website YouTube channel review for Anything Cameras. Keep up the great work though, Anything Cameras. I think you're doing an amazing job, and we just need to keep going, and fine tuning is now what we need to do. Really work on those thumbnails and titles for sure. Anyway, great work. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you. I'm going to see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and try to get those reviews for your stuff using the strategies that we used here in the beginning of the video. Big shout out again to Buzzsprout as the sponsor. Thank you for giving away a Samsung Q2U to Jeremy. And Jeremy, if you are watching this, make sure you send an email to pat@patflynn.com so we can hook you up with that microphone. And hey, we're going to do more giveaways like that in the future. Thanks. Take care. See you tomorrow. Stay safe. All the best. And as always, Team Flynn for the win.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream. All while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you. Hope everybody had a happy Mother's Day yesterday. And yeah, tomorrow we're going to talk about a different topic, a little bit more in depth like we did today. Just want to say appreciate you. And as always, peace out. See you tomorrow.